welcome everybody to LinkedIn for Breakfast. Fantastic to have you here. Excited about sharing a few of these ideas with you. We're going to be talking about how to go live on LinkedIn. That's the game plan. There's a number of different bits that we'll be going through, but I will be doing a live demo. So buckle your seatbelts. We're ready to rock. This is your weekly piece of marketing madness with Richard in the morning. So what are we doing? Before we start, I always like to work out, well, what are we actually doing here? So this is all about going live on LinkedIn. This is LinkedIn for Breakfast. And our mission here is basically to make LinkedIn for Breakfast a place for entrepreneurs to unlock the full potential of LinkedIn as a powerful tool for both this kind of business development piece and brand expansion. What I mean, well, business development, the thing that gets your inbox pinging with inquiries, people want to actually work with you, and the brand expansion piece, the thing that gets people to actually recognize you, understand what you do, understand what your brand does. So those are the two things that we really want to major on here. And our vision is to make this the best place on earth to learn LinkedIn for free. And what we do on purpose is that we'll loop back to different parts of LinkedIn. So this might not be the first time that you've seen me talk about LinkedIn Live, but the whole point of this is that it's a great prompt to be able to go, oh yeah, I learned a little bit about that, but I haven't really locked it into my marketing mix. I haven't made it part of my rhythm. And so by coming back and seeing me discuss it again, looking at it in a slightly different way, then the more it's that repetition. If you get told something once, it kind of goes, oh, that's a good idea, but never you action on it. If you get told it over again a number of times, then suddenly you can actually lock it in and become a habit. And we want to make these different things that we talk about, things like going live on LinkedIn, which is today, things like LinkedIn newsletters, which we cover, things like making sure you update your profile consistently, making sure that you see LinkedIn as a lead generation, make sure that you're using automation and AI on LinkedIn as and where it's appropriate. We want to make that habit. We want to bake that into your world. Why? Because you generate leads. We did over 300 leads last week from LinkedIn just by having that blended mix and a mature strategy that we've been building on and constantly working on. How many leads, genuine leads, did you get from LinkedIn last week? And if you're not getting a number that's filling your funnel with salespeople who can actually then go do your sales for you, and actually build that rhythm and that consistency, then take some of these ideas that I'm giving you and start to implement them, start to be consistent with them, because LinkedIn is a wonderful tap that you can turn on and off. So that's our vision. That's why we keep on doing this. Okay. So best place on earth to learn LinkedIn for free, which is my favorite number. Here is our community. And so if you're not part of this community, please do join it. We will be posting the replay of this. There's the replay of all the other stuff that we have. It's our school community. As I say, it's absolutely free to join. Tell your friends about it. The link to which is probably in the chat now. If you're watching this somewhere where you can't access the chat, it's basically just Google LinkedIn for breakfast. We are the top of Google for that. And so you will find us, you will find our school group, and you will be amongst friends. Join us. Cool. So what's our agenda for today, right? So the agenda is, what is LinkedIn Live and how do you use it? And then we may break out into rooms to discuss how LinkedIn Live might work, right? So that's the game plan for today. So let's get started. Before we do this, so let's have a look at you lovely people. What is LinkedIn Live? What is LinkedIn Live? Well, LinkedIn essentially allows you to be able to do a live stream video directly to their platform. But here's the thing, it is not native in terms of the functionality, i.e., there's not a button on LinkedIn to do this. So what I'm showing you today is a verified thing that we've probably all seen people do on LinkedIn, which is to go live, to live stream, and yet it is not a button, not a function of LinkedIn. And so hence why having this little bit of knowledge, spending a little bit of time with me this morning. Remember, it's only 45 minutes this session, so we'll be done in about half an hour, and then we'll have a Q&A. So just lock yourself in for this because it's cool. So, and because it's slightly, it's not baked into the platform, not many people do it. So therefore you stand out. And that's the beauty of it. You want to stand out because you want people to see you. We all recognize faces more than logos when it's B2B small business, or even B2C small business on LinkedIn. it's you when you're a small business owner, or if you're even like a senior salesperson within a small business. It's facial recognition. It's personal, person to person, P2P. There is no B2C and B2B. It's all P2P, person to person. And so that's why using LinkedIn Live is so important. And so, what do you need to have? What do you need to have to actually do this thing? Well, you need to have a follower count of over 150 followers if you want to do it on your page, because you can do it on your company page on LinkedIn. But better, you would do it on your personal profile on LinkedIn, and you need to have over 150 connections. Most of us on this call will have that. Maybe some of our pages won't have over 150 followers, but here's the thing: if your page does not have over 150 followers, then you probably shouldn't be going live on it anyway, because it will only ever get a little small push out to a percentage. Say it's 5% of your followers. Well, only five people out of, say, the 100 followers you might have will actually get a ping to say you've gone live, and they have to be interested enough to actually go and click on it. And if they don't, then LinkedIn's not going to push it to the rest of your followers, because the more people that actually interact and go, oh, I will jump and watch it live, the more LinkedIn pushes that to additional followers. So here's the cool thing. If you do it as your personal profile, I've got over 2,000 people that follow me on LinkedIn. So that's a percentage of 2,000 people that are going to get pinged to say Richard Woods has gone live. Whereas my LinkedIn for Breakfast company page has just under 1,000 people that follow it. So, and then I don't, it's not a priority for me, and so only a percentage of 1,000 people would actually get it. So you can see why it's so much better, not just for going live, but for doing your whole, say, LinkedIn newsletter strategy, for doing your posting strategy. Everything really does, particularly within the small business world, make sense to be building your personal brand. That's the brand expansion piece. Yeah, if you're Red Bull and you can go and sponsor Max Verstappen and have your own team and do crazy skydiving competitions, then the brand becomes bigger than the individuals. And yet, Red Bull are still paying for individual personal brands to be able to leverage their brand, right? Um, Sorry, total ADHD moment, but oh, it's snowing. It's snowing outside. How cool is that? Is anybody else like? I'm sorry, I'm being completely kind of got off brand. Anybody else got snow outside? So I'm just being completely like, it's properly snowing. Wow, that's wicked. Anyway, there you go. Sorry. I'll go back into it. Yes, Paul's giving me a thumbs up. That's awesome. That's proper snow. All right. Anyway, anywho, so right, we're back in. So third party streaming software. This is the thing I want to tell you. So as I say, this is why this is actually quite a cool thing, because it actually is a barrier to entry. And so we're going to break down the barrier today and help you go live streaming. Right. What do I recommend? So I recommend there's a couple of things. So there's something called Restream, which we quite like, but StreamYard is one of the things. I'll stick this into the chat. And if you do sign up, by the way, you can use this totally for free if you're just streaming to LinkedIn. But the nice thing about StreamYard is you can simultaneously stream to YouTube and Facebook, and I think Instagram now, all at the same time. If you pay for their premium. But if you just want to stream to LinkedIn, it's free. So that's why I recommend StreamYard, because it's free. And there was, as I've mentioned, oh, hello, Restream. And I'll just ping this up because this is also a, there you go, Restream. This is also a platform I've used, so I can personally vouch for this as well. But I'm going to show you StreamYard, but Restream is also, they're basically kind of mirror products of each other. Cool. So StreamYard. Once you go and click on that button, you have to basically, actually, let me just show you a couple of those slides because it will ping you up with the usual, hey, you go into here. Look, if you click on that, you'll receive that bonus of $10 if you go in and use that link that I gave you. And look, it's neither here nor there. I'm not paying for StreamYard personally because I'm just using the free version, which is why I'm demonstrating. Everything I do today is on the free version. So I just want to show you that. Now, when you go in, you'll need to add a destination. So this is kind of adding your Facebook page. You can see here all the varieties. You can you can stream through your LinkedIn page, your LinkedIn profile, your YouTube channel, your Twitter, LinkedIn page, LinkedIn profile. You can even Twitch if you're a gamer, and if you like twitching. So there you go. So these are all the destinations that you can go down. And then once you go and click one of those destinations, then it does that normal, are you okay with StreamYard getting the details of this and vice versa? And so you've got, you just say yes, and then it just hooks up. So it's pretty simple. When you hook up, by the way, you may well see a note that says this, LinkedIn says you're not approved for LinkedIn Live. Just read the thing that's in gray at the bottom. Note that LinkedIn approved pages and profiles separately. So it's possible your profile meets the requirements, but your page doesn't, or vice versa, right? So what this is like an automatic ping up. So if you have associated with your profile a company page that doesn't have 150 followers, you may well see this. So I want you to not be alarmed by this. Just press return to dashboard, and I will tell you now that your LinkedIn profile will still be able to be used. So why don't we go on to that dashboard, right? So here we go. So we are in the StreamYard dashboard, and it's super simple to do a live stream. You just click on here and you go create live stream. Now you can then see the destinations that you've added. So I've got my YouTube, I've got my LinkedIn in here. So I've just pressed LinkedIn, and then I've got a few options in here to be able to create the actual live. So if I just wanted to go live, I could do that. If I wanted to actually go and set this up as an event and go live later, I could do that as well. So here's an example. If I just give you and I'm going to set this up. So actually, the nice thing about LinkedIn is it automatically set up the event on LinkedIn, which is cool, right? So here's the title of what we're talking about today. And then let's just stick the description in. So we can just say, this is the title and the description of the event. And basically, it's creating an event on LinkedIn for you. If I do it as I can use an existing event that I've already set up and then stream through that, or I can then set this up and schedule it for later, right? So this is me scheduling this for later. I can then work out, do I want to do as landscape, like as a this way, or portrait, like kind of classic phone stories type piece. Now, portrait probably is only good if you want to go and hook up and do something, say on Instagram Live, for example. That's where you would use that functionality. For most, oh, hello, that was a bit silly. And for most of us, we only need to do it as a landscape, right? So you want to do it as landscape. There's these other things. There's a strange like Mars Studio. I don't know what this thing is, but multi-aspect ratio streaming. There's some ninja stuff that you can do, but don't worry about the ninja stuff. Let's just go for a simple live stream that basically pops up like a video on LinkedIn. That's the game plan. You've probably all seen them before. So I'm going to schedule this film for later. If you're using the free one, by the way, there will always be a message to say this is being streamed by StreamYard. If you want a super tip to be able to push that message down, you can do this, put a full stop, and then it'll push that referral message down so you can't actually see it. So there's a little tip. Sometimes it works, sometimes it wasn't. So if I'm going to stream this, I'm going to actually schedule this for, say, next week at 11 o'clock a.m. And then I can actually upload a thumbnail here, and I can go, let's go on to brand assets and just go on to, I'm just going to do a random one. Oh, I'm getting all fancy now and trying to find, here we go, YouTube thumbnails. I'm just going to get a random thumbnail, chuck it in like there, perfect, right? So I've got a nice thumbnail. You can create a nice thumbnail for your event, press apply, and so you've got your title, your description, your thumbnail, and I can go and create that live stream. So what's just happened now is that StreamYard has actually now pushed this towards LinkedIn. And in a minute, and it does take a minute because obviously it's the APIs and they've got to go and talk. Oh, that's going to be annoying if I can't get into my LinkedIn. Should be fine. Should be fine. Why am I joining LinkedIn? I'm not a robot. Oh God, this would be very annoying if my LinkedIn is going through a capture thing. We'll go back. It will do its thing, but let's go back to StreamYard. So what's happening now is that LinkedIn is then actually setting up the event on LinkedIn, and then I'm going to obviously go through and be able to stream in there next week. So that'll be set up as an event. What I'm going to now show you is actually streaming. So now once I go into this, I can then go do a live stream. So I can go in and just do a off the cuff live stream. So I go to Richard Woods and give it a title. So I know I'm setting this up for a second time, but the first one I did as a schedule for later. This one I'm just going to go straight in the stream so I can show you how that works. So I go straight into this. I've got my title, I've got my description. I'm not going to schedule this for later, which means it doesn't give me a thumbnail. It just goes straight in, and I'm going to go create live stream. So what this now does is it enters the live streaming studio, and then that's the bit that I'm going to give you the demo on, right? I'm going to allow it access to my mic and my camera. So I'm going to say, here's my second camera, and I can see that the microphone's working. So I'm going to allow, right? So we are away. Now I can give myself a name, Richard Woods, cool. And then I can go founder, you know, MDS or whatever it is, right? So I can give myself a bit of a B, so you can have a look at the settings. If this isn't working, go into settings, make sure you've got the right camera, the right audio, etc. If you wanted to, you could blur the background. I give myself some bricks in the background, all of that fun stuff, right? So there we go. I'm going to enter the studio. And so this is the studio. So I'm just going to remove that banner for now, just so we cover it. And so once we're in the studio, we're not going live yet. This button at the top right here is go live. So once I click that, it means that I will be going live. Okay. So I'm just getting a text message from my LinkedIn verification code. Oh no, come on. Oh, what is going on? It's going to be annoying because I'm going to want to. Why is this doing this? Oh, I made LinkedIn for whatever reason. Did anybody see there was a big issue with logins yesterday with I think Cloudflare went down, and so I cleared all my cache, which means that all my logins are going to have to be redone, which is annoying. Anyway, yada yada yada. Right, we'll get onto that. So here's the thing, right? We've got StreamYard in here, and we are in this. And actually, at some point, we'll set up the live stream. So only that will happen if I hit that go live, right? I've got the main screen here, and I can then go add myself to the stage, and I can remove myself from the stage. So you can see how that works, and that's what will happen. So whatever's up here is live, and there's a few functions in here. So what I'm actually going to do is just go live now. And then once I go live, I'm going to demo all of the different functionality so you can see it, but also the people going live can see it, right? Claire's confirmed Cloudflare took out Canva and ChatGPT. Yeah, exactly. Issues with Cloudflare. That was it. So I've got a few people in there confirming confirming the torrent time I had yesterday. Also, right. So we're going to go live. And I can do an intro video if I wanted to set up an intro video, which is like a trailer for my live, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go live, right? And so in a second, it's going to go live. And the beauty is, if I wanted to, so I can say, I can add myself to the stage, and I can say, hello, everybody who's watching this on the camera. We've just gone live as a demo for all the people at LinkedIn for Breakfast, which is a weekly event that we do. And they are seeing here on this camera, which I'm talking to now, they are seeing a dashboard where they can actually see me going live, which is cool. And they can see all the functionality of StreamYard, which I do. And so there's things like such as talking about my style and my branding, and I can change the way that my name looks, and I can have a minimal way of doing it. I can have a block way of doing it. And if I wanted to, I could change the colors and make myself green, and that will give me a branding. So there's a nice branding elements that I could work in front of this. And if I wanted to, I can give myself rounded corners, square corners, and I can work through there, or I can round off different corners in terms of my square piece in here. So it's quite good in terms of functionality and how I want to work the branding, so I can get that nice and sorted. Or if I wanted to, I can change, oh, hang on. There are some premium features as well, like all these things that if I wanted to change the theme, is there any other fonts? No, all of the fonts are premium features if I wanted to change the way that my name looked. So that's how that bit's worked. And then if I wanted to then go and add banners, so for example, I want to give a bit of a banner across the bottom and say, hi, everybody, good morning, how's things going? And then if I say to you, well, if anybody's got any questions, you can ask question now. And actually, if people are seeing this live on LinkedIn currently, it'd be lovely for someone to be able to comment on this, because the reason why I want you to comment is that I can actually bring that comment in the comment function above the top. So I can then say, hey, this is how the overlay of a comment might be. So if it's going really well and I'm talking to people and saying, hey, ask your questions, and if anybody, I'm going to do a drop in, I'm just going to take a Q&A, and people can ask questions. Then when they do start to comment on them, I can then bring them up like that and it will look really lovely and visual and I can comment across. I can also invite people onto this. So if I wanted to, I can then invite people into. So if someone is already on the StreamYard, I can actually invite people as a guest. And so I could put that as a comment. So I'm going to stick that on the chat within the actual Zoom that I'm doing. So if anybody is already a StreamYard user and wants to join this stream, there's a link there to be able to join. And when they do, I can actually then have a side by side with them and present and invite them to stage. I can also add slides. So if I'm doing this and want to add some slides, I can add them in like this and I can work through the slides as I'm talking. I can make myself slightly bigger next to the slides, which works quite nicely. Or I can make myself tiny down the bottom. And then if I wanted to, I could then use that branding. Let's have a look. There was a branding piece, and then I can do my, where was it, style, and then I can make myself in a nice little circle down the bottom. Although by doing that, I can't actually see myself. So it's nice from that functionality in terms of how it works. And then as we're working through this, we can then add a video if I wanted to. I could share my screens. And as I say, we can invite guests along to be able to join us as well if I'm doing interviews. So it's quite good for that kind of interview style as well. So we really like this. We really like how it works. I can have my notes in here and I can actually have a teleprompter in if I've got really concerned about this. And also, as I say, we can be inviting people to it and I can manage those people here. And if I wanted to, I can have a private chat with people between us. So I can be talking, presenting, and also having a private chat within the meeting, which works great. So cool. That's how it works. And then as we move on to the next one, I can change my banner. I can remove my slides from the stage. I can then add another banner in here. I can add another banner and it can work really nicely, right? So that's how the live stream works. And I hope you've enjoyed that. So everybody within LinkedIn now that's watching this, I hope that's been an interesting demo. StreamYard's great. You should try it. Works really well. For everybody within LinkedIn for Breakfast is watching me doing this demo, stay tuned. I'm going to say goodbye to the LinkedIn audience and say thank you for your time and attention. And I'm going to end the stream and say ta-ra like this. Cool. Oh, and before we did, we had a quick comment. Oh, that's a shame. There you go. So now that I've ended the stream, they won't see this, but actually Peter kindly did a comment there just in time, and you can see it pings up with their profile in there. So that's quite cool, right? And then once that's done, that's it. I can just return to the dashboard and you'll see that the live demo is in there, all looking lovely, right? So that's as simple as it when you're live streaming. Works lovely, in my opinion. If I was to, what is going on with this LinkedIn thing? Right, sign in. Sign in. Come on. Yeah, I've got my LinkedIn code that's just been sent to me. What I'm trying to do, you're captured, no response code you're missing. Looks like I just need to clear my cache, I think, and then go back to this. Is very annoying. I was having problems with that yesterday. Not to worry, not to worry. So what we're going to do then, what basically you would see on LinkedIn is that you would see now an event on my profile set up for people to register for the event, and then I can live stream to that event next week when it happens. That's it. It's as simple as that. So that's the demo in terms of live streaming. So there's a couple of things that I want to do. One, I'm going to, after I finish talking, I'm going to set up a couple of questions or ask a couple of questions to get your thoughts and opinions on this. But before I do, just remember, if anybody is watching this now and you want to be able to get a little help and support, additional support by not just doing the StreamYard thing, but also spending a bit of time with us to be able to review your LinkedIn profile. We offer a free LinkedIn profile audit for anybody here. So if you are looking for a little bit of assistance on your LinkedIn profile, we actually audit things like your headline, your banner, your lead, how good is it for lead generation? And we got some free appointments coming up today at 3 o'clock. And then there's another one at 5 o'clock on Thursday, and there's a few on Friday. So if you haven't had your profile audited to see how effective it is, particularly after our LinkedIn profile session last week, do book into that because it's a free session and it's a one-to-one session to be able to help you understand a little bit more about what to do with your LinkedIn profile. Cool. Um, that's it, gang. Any questions about going live on LinkedIn? Into the room. Thoughts, experiences, questions about it? Go for it. Lydia?
Yeah, thank you.
Mm.
So, morning. In terms of the topics, or, well, let me start. Regularity and topics, like what would be a good strategy? Any suggestions there?
So I think we always say to people, have a theme for the week. And so if you've got a sort of a cycle, we talk about a 13-week cycle. We like 13 themes. Why 13? Because 52 weeks divided by 4 quarters is 13. So you can reuse the same 13 themes 4 times a year. I do exactly the same. This is obviously LinkedIn Live Week. We previously have LinkedIn Newsletter Week and LinkedIn Profile Week. So those are our themes and we go through those. Now, why is that good? Is that if I'm thinking about, well, what week is it? Okay, it's a week where I'm talking about leadership or whatever one of your themes is, then you'll know, right, that's the topic for that week. And then you can go live on it. You can also perhaps in that week do a poll about leadership. You can also do maybe an ask about leadership. You do a live about leadership. And so therefore it then sets the tone for the week and it reinforces one of your key things. One of the things that I know about the best content creators online and the people that do the best is that they have some core elements and they go back to them consistently. So there is a fundamental kind of cornerstone pieces of content that they are always talking about. And they become renowned for it. And everybody goes, oh, that was so fresh and new. And it's not, it's just the same content that they've just polished and polished over time because they've been talking about it so often. And so, what are your core cornerstone pieces of content? And if you're not sure what they are, then think about your topic, your umbrella kind of industry, and then think of it as an orange and just unpeel it into 13 segments. That becomes your core themes. And then within those themes, start to build IP. So one of the things that we talk about is what to post on LinkedIn. But one of our pieces of IP that we go back to is the 13-week cycle because we're constantly talking about how that works and what to post on each day. And so it's become baked into kind of how I go about things. And I've talked about it multiple times for years. And I've written it about it in my book. And it's there. It's part of what we are about. And so it's easy, and it's also part of how we deliver, right? And so what are your things? What are the IP that you can bake in? And so that's what you then talk about.
Thank you. And then just a quick follow-up question. I would assume that, at the end you would invite to some sort of the strategy call, assessment call, something, right? The call to action at the
Yeah.
end of the live stream, right?
Exactly, exactly. And I'm a big fan of instead of going, hey, now you've listened to this, do you want to go buy my stuff? Actually, instead of calling it like a sales meeting or a strategy session or something generic, do something a little bit more in tune with what you're talking about. So if it is leadership week, then open the door and say, well, look, we're just going to do a leadership team review, you know? And then it's more specific and it relates to what you've been talking about. And then more people are going to buy it. It's not necessarily doesn't feel so salesy. It's what we call a value session. So a session that is going to add value to the person that books it. And then, of course, at the end, if it's appropriate, you can then open the door for them to go and buy your product. But it means that you'll get a higher rate of bookings because of it.
Thank you so much.
No worries at all. No worries at all. Well, look, if it's those are the sort of questions that we answer on the LinkedIn profile audit. So if you are interested in doing that, just do remember I've put that into the chat there for anybody who hasn't booked onto that. Thank you for the ones that have, because we've had a few pings on the old phone and to say that they've been booking in, which is cool. So thank you. We're looking forward to helping you guys with your LinkedIn profile. Into the room, guys. Any further comments or thoughts around LinkedIn Live, or even things that people have done on LinkedIn Live that they'd like to share with the group?
Richard, it's Paul.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, apologies. I had to dip out for a call, so if you've already answered it, just shut me up. But one of the things that I'm concerned about or mildly terrified about in my live debut is the managing of the chat during the session. So, A, is there the ability for people to interact during the session? And then how do you go about kind of responding and managing responses as you wish to during broadcasting?
Yeah, exactly. Look, you if you are in flow, then you're probably not going to see it. For example, on this session, I don't see the chat. I don't really look at the chat. I'm not so worried. If people are kind of like pitching their own services in your chat whilst you're doing stuff, then in all honesty, it's not going to be anything.
I was thinking more, Richard, actually, where I want them to. So let's say I've said, so my thing is around linking music to lessons in business. And so I might say, hey, what's a song that speaks to you with regard to leadership, for example? And I want to pick up that response.
Yeah. So that might be in the bit that you were out for. So when the comments happen on the right hand side here, when you're in the studio and say you're up here presenting like this, you will see comments that will have a little number on it to say new comments, and they'll come down like this, and you can then bring them to stage. And if
Ah,
you
awesome.
yeah, so you can
So
then bring
basically, it gets control what to surface and also can show that I've read them and respond verbally. Yeah.
exactly. So you can ping them up and say, hey, this is done, and then you can hide them again and bring them up. So when they do comment, it will have their LinkedIn profile and their name, and then the comment will show up, which is really cool. And if you're streaming to Facebook, Instagram, everything at the same time, all of those get aggregated within this one comment feed. And the nice thing about it is that it will show that that comment was from LinkedIn and that comment was from Instagram and that comment was from Facebook. So actually you can say, oh, and we've got someone beaming in from Facebook now. This is Barbara who said this, and oh, we've got Dave who's now just popped in from LinkedIn. And so that can be quite cool, and also shows how big your audience is as well. Even if it
That's
is
amazing.
even if it is small, it will still feel big to everybody.
That's amazing. And presumably, my co-host, we can both have our screens open and that we can be, prompting each other. This is brilliant. I didn't realize it was that good. Thank you.
Yeah, well, then your co-host, when they're on, you would see that. You see here, I'm down here. If you had a co-host on here, they would be there, and then you'd be side by side, and then you're both would see the same thing, so you can give them approval to be able to see the comments coming on, etc. It's very much like a live stream type scenario, so it works really, really nicely for that.
Love it. Awesome as ever. Thank you.
No worries, no worries. Great stuff. So, do we have any other questions for the room here again, or any other thoughts? Who's going to give it a go? Who's going to give a live streaming a go in the chat? Milan says, "Can I use OBS Studio?" Yeah, you can use OBS Studio to go live streaming on it. It's a little bit more technical, and so that's why I don't use that to do the demo. OBS is kind of like a downloaded kind of dashboard software. Let me just do a little bit of a share screen, just so anybody watching this can see. Mm, mm, mm. Gives you a load of other functionality, but it is definitely harder to kind of work through. So here you go. You download it as a software, and then it gives you kind of how you can create the scene and the audio mixer, and it's kind of a little bit more. Not, I don't want to say professional because I think it looks really professional in StreamYard and it's really easy, but it's less it's less bubbly interface and easier user experience, and more kind of like a hard. It'll be like trying to design in Canva versus Adobe Illustrator. So if you're trying to go into Adobe Illustrator, there's just so much you can do, and the functionality is just so detailed that you would need to kind of learn it. OBS is like that, whereas StreamYard is a little bit like Canva. Once you kind of get understood what buttons to click, it's relatively easy, and like Canva is to design. So that's how I'd kind of approach those. But yeah, go for it. OBS can be a really cool tool to use. Further questions and gang here. How do you get people to participate in it? Does creating a LinkedIn event a week before help? Yes. So where we created the LinkedIn event before, what you can then do, which I was hoping to demonstrate if I can get into my LinkedIn, it's going to be good, isn't it? If I can't get into my own LinkedIn. But the whole point of it is that you're going to then use the invite function on the event, so you can invite up to 1,000 people a week on an event by just doing that. There's an invite button. You can then go and click their names and invite them. Plus, you can then put posts out about it. You can get people to fill it. You can send emails out and get people to go and join it. So you can do a whole event launch when you set it up to then run it later. Now, if you wanted to, you could set it up to run later, and you can pre-record the live as well. If you really wanted to, you'd have to pay for the premium function of that. So you wouldn't quite get the benefit of that interaction and pinging people up on stage and all the rest of it. Plus, you'd have to pay for the premium version of StreamYard to do the pre-recorded version. However, it does give people a bit of a comfort blanket that they can kind of pre-record something and go out first. So I know people have done that. Personally, wouldn't recommend it because there is a thrill in going live. And look, if you go live and 2 minutes later it's like a complete car crash, you can just press stop. You can go onto LinkedIn and you can delete the live stream. So you can remove it, and maybe the 3 people that happen to see the start of it are the only people that are affected by it. And we're all pretty forgiving in this world. So don't worry. And actually, sometimes, those are the people that will go, "Hey, I saw that. Got a shame about the start, but then when you did it again, I jumped on it again." And so, sometimes actually, people are cool, right? So don't worry about it. Don't worry about them. Great, Sue. Over to you. Question.
No, Richard, I don't know that you spotted when you asked if somebody would give it a go. John Russell put his hand up. I don't think you spotted it.
Good. Well, John, I'm glad. I think there was a few people that said yes, and you've put John
He
under the
doesn't want to
bus
do it now.
because I will make sure that he does. Good. I'm pleased. I'm pleased. We'll have John going live. You up for it, John?
I am. As soon as I've had a meeting with Flora later and worked out how to go live.
Okay, lovely. I think your internet was slightly lagging there, but I think what you said you're having a chat with Flora to help you to do it. That's good. Okay, good. I love it. Okay, guys. Well, look, any further questions that you might have on this, do speak now. If not, we can close the call there. Look, so final shout out. If you haven't had one of our team do a free LinkedIn profile audit, so we'll go one-to-one with you through your LinkedIn and let you know all the things that can be changed. We've just put the link into there, so do jump onto that. Click the button and open up on a new window if you haven't done yet, and then you can do that when we close the room, because I'm about to close the room and you'll lose that link. So that's it. Thank you all, and look forward to catching up with you in due course.